What's up, guys? I'm Derek here, back for another VOD review, and today I'm doing one of my own games because, one, I gotta record this and then run out of the house and then come back to the house because I gotta play in day 2 of this tournament because I made day 2 of this tournament because this game is from day 1 of the tournament, and 2, this was a cool line. I haven't seen anybody play this exact version of this comp before using the items that I use this game. To make a long story short, because you're going to see it at 2-1, this is a fine vintage game. This is an augment that I believe the stats still don't love a ton since the nerfs to it, like I was talking about when we did the Triple Eight spot review where he played fine vintage. It's been nerfed pretty hard, but there are still spots where it makes sense, and I think this is actually one of them because the portal that we're in here is completed item anvil. We start the game with a full completed item. So my thought process is, well, starting the game with another entire item means that fine vintage should be pretty good. It's basically like we got a 5-component opener, but everyone else got a 3-component. I guess everyone else also has 5 items. But yeah, I see fine vintage here with the completed item anvil, and I say, you know what? It's got to be good. Let's try it out. I was also in like an okay spot in the tournament here. I needed a good performance, so this, was quite important. I'm thinking around now, like, is there anything that I kind of want to save here? I end up making the Shojin here and turning it into fine vintage, and thinking maybe I'll hold on to this cloak and make like a spark, because the things you usually want when you are playing fine vintage is shred and healing cut, because those are the things that, you can get shred through the black cleaver item, obsidian cleaver, and nowadays you can get healing cut actually from the new cinder item, but it's actually not so good. We actually high roll pretty hard here, and we get the 3-star 1 cost, and it's a Cho'Gath, which is exactly what we needed on this board. We just needed frontline, and this also fills out mythic, so we get to make 10 and have this Cho'Gath on frontline. So this was actually really nice to potentially save some HP early game, though honestly a lot of these fights still did not go that well, because at the end of the day we're playing fine vintage. You are lose streaking very frequently when you take this augment, almost always when you take this augment, because I'm playing down 2 full items. Like, this person has an adaptive helm slammed, and then some items sitting on bench. Obviously, I'm going to lose to them, so it's gonna be a loss streak opener for us. I don't really mind winning in a spot like this. Also, we pick up the Malphite here. We're basically just playing the Kog'Maw board, except using it to push levels, because, that makes sense. I didn't even realize my camera went blurry here. I wonder how long it takes for it to come back. But this is certainly our strongest board. But yeah, like, I don't really care that much about like 5 lossing in a spot like this, because I just need time, right? I need time for my items to transform. If I can win this fight, which is, I do, I'm completely fine with that. I see that there's an Alawi on Carousel, and Alawi fits really well into this board because she activates a lot of traits. She activates Arcanist and Ghostly, and then like maybe later down the line we can play around Warden. I feel like this has to be the pickup. Also, I don't really care what I pick up because after thinking about it more, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll just make this QSS, turn it into a fine vintage item, and we'll be chilling. We got one more round before we get our first batch of 2 fine vintage items. So I guess now's a good time to talk about the items that we actually get here. So the previous versions of fine vintage, there were a couple of versions. There was the Randuin's plus Aegis version, where you would have, you would just clump your entire team. Aegis would shoot down, and then Randuin's, you would put the units in a clump, so it was really easy to get Aegis plus Randuin's value. There was also like the Locket, like ZZ Rot version, where you just get a bunch of units. This is actually neither of those versions, because I crack one of these open and I see Moonstone Renewer, and I check the stats, and this Moonstone Renewer item is insane in stats. I can hover over it. Yeah, there I'm going to hover over it right now, so I can pause view. Every 4 seconds, grant 100 to 400 shield based on the stage to the 2 lowest percent health allies for 4 seconds. So every 4 seconds, you're getting 200 HP shields starting at, I guess, stage 2, and then it probably goes 100, 200, 300, 400, maybe? I'm not actually sure. So I opt to just take the double Moonstone Renewers. You got to throw these guys on backliners because you want them to live as long as possible, and you're going to start seeing the impact of these shields. Look at it already. Every 4 seconds. I feel like this item just, if you look at the stats, it looks overtuned, and if you look at how it does in the fights, it looks overtuned. Look at all the shielding I'm getting on these frontliners. Like, it's actually just impossible for people to get through my frontline. Malphite disappeared that last fight, so I just have the Alawi, or not Malphite, but Cho'Gath disappeared. I really want to get Cho'Gath back in because he fills out the synergy so well. But yeah, this double Moonstone Renewer setup is so cool. And the other crazy thing is if we can get more stats on our units, if we can get extra armor MR is the really big one through something like a Randuin's, then this extra HP is going to go even further. I actually think for a second about keeping this Archangel staff here, because theoretically Archangels would make a lot of sense with this setup. You buy a bunch of time with the Moonstone Renewers, and then you get a really juiced up backline carry, but I couldn't really figure out who would end up holding the Archangels. I'm thinking about playing around Heavenly here, because once again, that's another way that I can give my unit stats to play with. If I can give my Heavenly units a bunch of armor and MR, then they can use that, through Heavenly, then they can use that with the extra HP they're getting from Moonstone Renewer. If I give them, healing, then they can shield up with the Moonstone and then heal back up. So a lot of stuff I can do here. We do sadly end up losing this fight, and I opt to just hold on to the Nico and everything here. Keepers is an interesting one here. I think about it a good bit because, you do probably want to clump your units in the same way. The awkward thing is that I'm already getting these big shields, so I don't really want a Keeper's shield. I want to just let Moonstone give me shield. And then I see Heavenly Crest, and I say, okay, I think this makes more sense from this spot. Also, grants me a Nico too, which is fantastic. I can play 4 Heavenly, just throw this onto the Alawi here, and it works. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. In hindsight, I think this was the correct call, but I was not sure in the moment if maybe it was Keepers, but I don't think it really makes that much sense. I mean, a decent amount of the shields will get broken in the first 4 seconds, so like I guess it's kind of fine. And I guess you can just stack the shields on each other. It's not like you need to lose the shields. It's just, it depends on the shield stacking. We open up our next support item here, and we get some pretty bad ones. Treasure Chest and Eternal Flame are just not amazing. I opt here to just take the Gem. Gem, good in a setup like this. It kind of goes along with the entire game plan that we have, right? We want to play for long fights with these Moonstone Renewers, and Gem is going to allow us to, win those long fights once we get to the ascension that the Moonstones are going to get us to. Now our board is really, really strong, so it makes sense. I like it. It kind of reminds me of people would build this in like the Aegis version. In like any version of Fine Vintage, Gem tends to be pretty good because you're very often playing for long fights. This is actually kind of a killer carousel for me. There's nothing that I really, really want here. I opt to just take the Diana here because she might end up going on like a Heavenly board. But yeah, there's nothing that I was really hyped about here. This is actually a pretty low roll carousel for me because, other people are going to play around like a Mumutu and stuff like that. And I really can't play that well around this Diana here. So she's just going to sit on the board. I guess you could make the call where you could like move the Heavenly emblem over to her. But one, then it would have to like stay on her. And I really wanted to go on like a Kayn or a Lee Sin later. And two, yeah, it's just, I'm going to lose. If I do that, then I'm losing Arcanist and Ghostly. Feels really, really bad. So I just decide to sit with this setup here. But yeah, I mean, just look at these Moonstone Renewers proc every few seconds. I assume they're making 200 shields now. I never actually checked the shielding this game, but JD Zielinski, who was, many people's like most scary player in this entire tournament, was in this lobby, and he said one of my units late game ended up shielding for like 7,000 across the course of a fight or something like that, which is pretty good. I have to take Locket here. I think this is a pretty decent call, just because it does give extra armor and MR for the first 20 seconds. That is another item that is going to, help me get to my Ascension. And the armor and MR scales really well with the Moonstone Renewer. I just, once again, like the shield stacking might end up being a little bit awkward, but we'll see. I really, really wanted a Randuin's here, but I can live with a Locket. Locket is like Randuin's minus, and hey, maybe I can stack some Lockets later. Pick up a Kiana here, and yeah, at this point, I'm just saying, okay, I kind of have to play towards Vertical Heavenly in this spot. I'm still not sure exactly who I'm going to carry, probably Kayn, but, if I hit a bunch of Lee Sins, I can play around that. Silas is an option that you'll see some people go for. Actually, it's support item from a Prismatic Orb, which kind of sucks, because, like, I'm already getting support items, turning all my regular items into support items, so this is pretty low value, actually, but, it's not the end of the world. I'll take it, and it's fine. And at this moment, I'm thinking, okay, I do still need to get to some kind of heal cut item, so I'm going to make Titans, throw this down here, and then hold on to the belt here for a Morello that's just going to go on, like, Morgana later. So that's the game plan here. Also, why am I fighting a Lee Sin 2 here at 4-1? I don't know how this person even had the econ 4-1 it with this much gold, but yeah, I'm fighting a Lee Sin 2 at 4-1, which kind of scared me, because I was like, what if I just don't hit my units? Okay. The last augment here, I don't think it's reinforcement. I just want some kind of combat augment to juice my board even more. You could maybe make the argument for reinforcement, though, just to guarantee like a Kayn 2 or something. Gifts from the Fallen, I'm also not that psyched about, because I already have, like, this is going to give me more, I was looking at Gifts to the Fallen, and I thought it was really good, but then I got Big Grab Bag here, which is basically 2 support items and some gold and a Reforger, so I feel like I have to end up taking this. I was really hoping that I actually get a Morello drop, but I don't get the Morello drop, which feels kind of bad. We're just going to roll down here. We pick up a Yone too, who is someone we can play around, but then I get this shop with Kayn and Sylas in it, and I just like Kayn 1 more than Yone 2, honestly. So I'm going to throw the Kayn, put the Heavenly Emblem on him. I opt here, actually, to say, okay, what I'm going to do here, I think about actually making Sterak's on Kayn, but I say I can greed one more support item. I'm going to make Sterak's, throw it on bench, and then hold these 2 items. This is going to be my Morello Last Whisper. It's going to be my Shred, or I guess it's Sunder, and my Heal Cut. So yeah, I opt to just keep those items this game so that I can, you know, actually build them. I end up fighting a Kai'Sa here, like a pretty strong board, and this is the scary part for this fine vintage. I know I'm like going to lose a lot of these fights. I'm 54 HP, and I'm just, at this point, I want to save HP. Also, I'm like, I really need to get out of these units. I need to roll a bit more, and yeah, just get out of this backline. I end up hitting a random Sylas too, and I'm like trying to figure out, like, should I move items over to Sylas? I opt to not end up moving items over to Sylas, and I just play him on this board as a random, you know, guy. And I mean, he's not terrible. But yeah, I mean, it is just the world's most random Sylas 2 that's getting juiced up with all these shields and all this armor and MR. But yeah, it's kind of strange to have him on my board. But yeah, this is a relatively close fight, but then I end up losing it to this Syndra here. I don't know if I sell this or not, honestly. I think I do, yeah. Because I'm just like, I'm probably not going to get to actually play around it in this position. There is a Lee Sin with Bow, and worst case, I can take this Jax with Rod here, but I want to pick up the Lee Sin with Bow. It's a Lee Sin, and it's a Last Whisper for my Kayn, so I'm very, very pleased about getting to pick this up. But yeah, this comp, a lot of it is, you know, like the game I showed before, is about staying alive stage 4. So with that extra gold injection, I'm going to roll down here. I'm like, I have so many pairs. Surely I'll find something here. I roll really, really deep. I think about the Irelia for a second, then opt to not pick that up. And boom, we get the Kayn too, which is huge here. This is a really, really big pickup. I can put the LW on him, and now my board will be a lot stronger with him 2-starred. But yeah, at this point, I thought about just getting the Lee Sin over Sylas would allow me to make some gold, but I just opt to sit on the current board here. This fight is really, really scary because my Kayn dies early, so I just, you know, if Kayn dies in this fight, and this is what I'm kind of scared of playing around this augment with this setup, is that, like, Kayn can very easily die early. I get either Locket or another Moonstone Renewer here, and I just say, fuck it, okay, I'll go one more Moonstone here. I would prefer Randuin's to Locket, so I say one more Moonstone can't be that bad. Throw it onto Soraka because I want to keep the Morello slot open for the Morgana. But yeah, I end up actually moving Kayn back here because I'm just saying in too many of these fights, he's actually getting focused down early. I don't have enough sustain to keep him alive in this moment. He has the only healing he has is just the inherent healing from Heavenly, and it's really, really scary. So this fight ends up looking a lot better, and I think, okay, maybe this is the kind of positioning I want to go for. And I get my final support anvil here. From this moment on, I'm not going to make any more support items just because it's going to take way too long to actually get to them, so I'm just going to make real items. Ideally, Morello here or Kayn. I didn't actually know how many components I was getting here because I was not counting, but I'm hoping that I can get a full Kayn item and a full Morello, and I end up getting a ton of items here, actually. So I was actually pleasantly surprised by the number of orbs I got there. This is awkward because I really wanted to go Morellos onto the Morgana, but I just say, you know what, I'm just going to end up making a Sunfire Cape here. I guess there's also an idea where I could have gone Eternal Flame. I don't really rate this item that highly, but maybe there's an idea of going for Eternal Flame. I end up going for the Knight's Vow. This is a new one as well, 200 HP and 12% Omnivamp for the holder and allies. You know, this is going to be really good for the Lee Sin, for the Kayn. I don't end up actually positioning well in this last second, but I do make the Sunfire. I make the BT onto Kayn, which, once again, not an insanely good item onto Kayn, but a decent one. And, you know, it's going to help keep Kayn alive. But yeah, we lose this fight, which is really scary. Drop down to 17 HP. And this shop actually maybe saves the game for me. I pick up the Wukong here. I say, you know what? Okay, I have to play the Wukong here. And at this point, Morgana's the most cuttable unit, so I am going to cut her. Put the gem onto Soraka, and then I'm going to move the Moonstone over to Lee Sin, because I think, you know, he's a frontliner. I really don't want him to die, but, you know, if he dies, it's not the end of the world. It's one Moonstone. Moonstone also gives HP, so it'll keep him alive longer, and you can just see with the Wukong in here how much stronger this board is, and now I'm looking at potentially pushing 9. I'm 17 HP, so it's a really, really scary spot. Soraka 2 is actually a fantastic pickup here, because I need her to stay alive in these fights. If she dies, then I die. You know, she is holding on to all of my support items that I need to be alive. So yeah, I'm really hoping that I keep Soraka alive. I have my guys positioned up here for the Randuin's, the Locket, and the Knight's Vow. But this is the final version of the board, essentially. I'm here. All I need to do now is get to 9, survive this one fight, then I can push 9 and get Rakan in. I do win this fight, which is so big against JD here. And you can see I start climbing in the HPs. I just wanted a Lee Sin item here. I was thinking maybe like a Stair Axe or something, but I end up looking at this Redemption here, which is another kind of support item. It's healing for all of my units. It's 10% damage reduction, which would be really nice if we could apply it onto the Kayn. So I just say, you know what? I think this looks pretty good. I'm gonna level it for the Zyra Khan. That's Ultrist and Dragon Lord, and just a fantastic unit. You know, Rakan also gives damage reduction on his ability on the units that he hits. I wonder how that actually stacks. Probably not that well with Redemption, but still, you know, damage reduction is damage reduction, and I'm not going to guarantee that I get it on all the same units. So, you know, we're now at the final version of our board, and you can see this is a Kaisa 2. Luckily, their Xayah doesn't roll great items, but they just cannot kill any of my units. Look at this Kayn spinning it to win here. We win this fight. We have the Rakan pair, and I say, you know, I'm 17 HP. I'm probably just going to roll to 0 here just to try to pick up a Rakan 2. Do not find one, so I just say, okay, I mean, this is fine. And I'm really hoping I don't fight this Tahm Kench 3, because I'm really scared of this. I want to position away from all of this stuff so that I don't get like Lissandra ulted or anything like that. But I also want to keep my Kayn and Lee Sin like towards the middle, just so that they can, you know, stay alive as long as possible. I don't want them to just get like killed by some random thing. But you can see this is the comp when it is really running. I don't know. I'm still not 100% sure, because this game obviously went well for me. You'll see how well it goes as we get further into the game. But I'm not 100% sure if this was the best comp to play from this spot, because I feel like the Moonstone Renewers and the Gem really want like a front-to-back type of comp, and this comp actually runs the risk of, you know, Kayn just getting one-shot by something. So I'm not really completely sure if I did this correctly at the end of the day, but I don't know. If it works, it works. We have Rakan here, so I want to just go for a Rakan item. I end up going from the Morellos here, and yes, I know I have Sunfire in this spot. But 1, this is just going to apply it to more units. 2, it's like AP and HP, which Rakan really loves. And 3, you know, like, what else was I going for on Rakan here? Blue buff. I mean, he's got such a high mana pool. I don't think blue buff makes any sense. Fight JD here, drop him down to 3 HP and secure the top 4. Koboko Dance here. I probably shouldn't have done this, because there's a decent chance you just end up getting 1 item. I was hoping I would get 2 anvils here, and I could just make a full Rakan item here, but pretty unlikely, and I end up just getting the 1 item, which feels really bad. Roll down a bit here, find a Wukong 2, and now we found all of our upgrades. Only thing we have left to find here is a Kha'Zix 2, which honestly I maybe shouldn't make, because Kha'Zix 2 here isn't really going to do anything. Ideally, we want Kha'Zix 2 to die really quickly. I'm actually, you know, really happy about this positioning. I was scared they were going to move their Lissandra over to hit my Kayn or something, so I try to move around a bit. But they leave Lissandra on the edge, so I just get to bait her out with worse units, and we just stomp this person, Turtle Duckling. This person, Nike, goes out in 5th place, so it's just me and the rest of the lobby. But yeah, I'm just rolling down here to try to pick up a Kha'Zix 2, which I think, like, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have even made. Because we really just want him. You want a lot of the useless units to die. That's the other reason why we have these guys in the middle and like Kiana and everyone else on the edge. We want like the Kiana and the Nico to die so that they don't steal our Moonstone procs. Because you can see like Kiana got a bunch of Moonstone procs in this fight. I would much rather those go onto the Lee Sin here. So yeah, if there was a way I could sacrifice these units at the start of the fight, if Dark Flight was in the game, then, you know, that would have been really nice. One more fight. At this point, it's just me and JD Zielinski here. I have to go actually for the Archangels here because we're playing for long fights. It's a great Rakan item. I'm going to roll down here, try to pick up the Kha'Zix 2. I end up actually finding it here, which I'm like, woo, I found Kha'Zix 2, but honestly, I maybe shouldn't have even made. And yeah, it's just one more fight versus JD. What I need to do is not get my Kayn Morello'd by this Lilia. I end up getting my my Lee Sin Morello'd, which feels pretty bad as well, but as long as Kayn doesn't get Morello'd, it's potentially okay. And just look at this fight, man. He just simply does not have the damage to get through this front line once we get to the Ascension. It's as easy as that, and it is a dub from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. What a cool build. I will be live in a few hours, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific time for day 2 of this tournament. So catch me at my Twitch or on my YouTube stream. I'll see you guys there.